94.7, today's Sunny 95.
Welcome to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the show that brings you man-on-the-street interviews, celebrity guests, groundbreaking research, and heartwarming stories about the reasons we smile. Our show is also known as everything you've always wanted to know about dentistry, but we're too numb to ask. Hello, I'm General Dentist Dr. Kvitko, and thank you for joining me today.
The following views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of this station, its staff, management, or parent company. To hear a replay of this show or one of the great shows that previously aired, log on to thereasonswesmile.com or iTunes, keyword Dr. Kvitko or The Reasons We Smile. Listeners should not use Dr. Kvitko's comments and advice in place of an actual dental exam.
Brighten your life with a smile that shows the professional touch of Dr. Kvitko.
Time now for The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Call 459-9769 to discuss your dental issues. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kvitko.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Reasons We Smile. I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is episode number 575. Now, we were expecting a major snow emergency. People were getting prepared to survive it. It actually arrived. So what do you do to be prepared for a dental emergency, especially when there's no dentist in sight or you can't get there because the roads are too dangerous? That's the topic today. Or the dentist could be in the ditch, right? Stuck in the ditch. We are currently under in Franklin County, a level 2 snow emergency. I can tell you that on my way in this morning, you could barely see the road, even the freeways. Although the road warriors were out, they did get things pretty much clean, but there's drifting. The snow's drifting. And so it is kind of unsafe, and maybe a better thing to do is to sit tight and listen to my show. All right, before we get started, let me remind you, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Dr. Kvitko. And if you'd please go to my office Facebook page and like us, that would be awesome. All past episodes, complete with video, are available at thereasonswesmile.com, and we're streaming live on Facebook. And by the way, the level 2 snow emergency, I remember seeing a thing on the television news that said it expires at 10 a.m. All right. So today what we're going to do is help you be prepared for dental emergency, and we're going to actually build your dental emergency kit. Okay? So we're calling it, people were calling it yesterday snow apocalypse. Well, I'm calling this tooth apocalypse. All right? What do you do in the case of a tooth apocalypse? So one of the things that can happen is you can chip a front tooth, or you can get a hole in a back tooth, right? So here's what you do. You can either do nothing if it's not bothering you, or you can smooth it with a nail file. You may try temporary filling material. You can buy that in any of the larger dental aisles. And if so, you're going to need to have the tooth perfectly dry before you do it in order for it to stick, to stay where you put it. And so in order to do that, you're going to need cotton gauze, these little 2 inch by 2 inch gauze pads, right? I guess you could get the big long roll, but it's easier if they're already pre-cut. So far, in your tooth apocalypse kit, it needs to have temporary filling material, known as DentaTemp is one of the brand names, and also cotton gauze, all right? Another thing that can happen dentally would be if you are in pain. So, if you're in pain, if you have a toothache, a couple things to think of. Don't do anything that gets your blood pumping, like running, lifting weights, having sex. You know, things that get your blood pumping are not good because it'll make it hurt more. The other thing you want to do is you want to sleep upright, because when you do that, the blood is flowing normally. If you lay down, the blood rushes to your head and makes your tooth hurt more. So you want to sleep upright whenever possible, or sit upright, during the day if it's during the day. And the other thing that you can do is to try moist heat. That would be a hot, moist compress. Sometimes it's as simple as a washcloth that's been doused in hot water, and you can do it boiling water. Just wait a few seconds so it's not so hot that it hurts your skin, because those do cool off pretty quickly. Or you can get a heating pad that is allowed to get a little bit damp, and you can hold that over your moist washcloth or moist towel. And if that doesn't work, though, sometimes ice works better. So an ice compress. And by the way, so in your kit, in your emergency kit, you should have ice packs, and you should have heat packs, those things that you activate and you can put them on, all right? The other thing that you can try when you have a raging toothache is every once in a while it responds to actually chewing ice, okay, chewing ice. So if you are stuck in the ditch because of the snow apocalypse, and now you have a tooth apocalypse at the same time, you could actually chew some snow, okay, if it's hurting your tooth, if you have this toothache. And like I said, that may actually make it feel better. Now, let me go back to, so let's go to another one. Let's say your front tooth was knocked out. We call that a vulst. You want to rinse it off gently. You want to place it back in the socket. One of the big things you ought to have around is this product called Save-A-Tooth. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Save-A-Tooth, because it comes in a little jar, a little bit like the size of what we might have thought of as a Pond's cold cream jar. And you can buy it at saveatooth.com. It's made by Phoenix Lazarus Incorporated. It's $19.99 for one jar. What it does is it keeps the tooth alive or viable for 24 hours, and it uses the Hank's Balanced Salt Solution. They have this new thing in the jar where there's these little projections, these almost like little Q-tips in there, and basically it creates a situation where each tooth gets its own little protective slot. So if you happen to knock two out, you can put them in there, and they're not actually touching each other. You put it in with the root down into the solution. These happen to be TSA compliant because they only have 9 milliliters or 1 ounce of liquid by volume. Now, just so you know, 5 million teeth are knocked out each year in the United States, but only 30% of children wear mouth guards. And if you'd like to look them up and you don't want to have to go online, I have their phone number for you. It's 888-788-6684. Oh, I forgot to mention that in about, it's going to be about 5 minutes or less now, we're going to give away free flowers from DeSantis Florist. All you have to do is remember a little bit about what I just said, and you'll have a chance to win those flowers. If you want to pre-program the phone number into your phone, it's 614-459-9769. Okay? So the other thing that you want to do is when you're in pain is you want to take something that's going to control your pain. Because dental pain typically is caused by inflammation of the gum, inflammation of the pulp tissue or the nerve. You're going to want to take a medication that is an anti-inflammatory or has anti-inflammatory properties. The most common ones, and you should think of and the ones you can get over the counter, are what are known as NSAIDs or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. That would be ibuprofen, which is also sold as, I'm drawing a blank. I'll come back to that one. No, Tylenol is acetaminophen, and that is not anti-inflammatory, so that's the one my producer's trying to help me, which I appreciate it. Ibuprofen is it's Advil. That's right, Advil is ibuprofen. Aspirin, also known as acetylsalicylic acid, is anti-inflammatory. And also naproxy known as Aleve. All right, so remember, it's not Tylenol that you're looking for. Not that it won't control pain, but you may as well get one that controls your pain and your inflammation at the same time by using an NSAID, okay? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. That's what they're referred to. So, as we go, you should be writing this down, because what you're writing down is what's going to go in your dental emergency kit, your tooth apocalypse kit, for lack of a better word. And so far we have mentioned that you should have an ice pack, you should have a hot pack, you should have cotton gauze, right? You should have temporary filling material, you should have a solution such as Save-A-Tooth, and you should have NSAIDs in there. You know, your choice, but you should have something like that in there. Okay? So, I think what we're going to do is we are going to go to Dr. Kvitko's question of the day now. It's a minute or so early, but there's no harm in that. And so, but before we do the contest, we'd like you to listen to this.
This station will not be held liable for any contesting during The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Participation in the contest allows Dr. Kvitko to record and broadcast your name and call. One winner per household. Prizes are non-transferable, cannot be substituted, and are subject to taxes and fees. This station cannot be responsible for the inability to enter the contest, whether due to equipment malfunction or telephone difficulties. All decisions of Dr. Kvitko concerning this contest or eligibility are final.
And now it's time for Dr. Kvitko's question of the day.
All right, and we are building your dental emergency kit. because of tooth apocalypse. And so when creating your dental emergency kit, what are some of the items you should include? These are just ones that we've mentioned so far. Should you include A, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, B, temporary filling material in the case you chip a front tooth or get a hole in a back one, C, cotton gauze because you need to have the tooth perfectly dry to be able to put that temporary filling in, or D, all of the above. All right, the winner's going to receive free flowers from DeSantis Florist. They'll be delivered to your place of business this Tuesday afternoon. And by the way, with the holiday being tomorrow, there's a chance that won't be until Wednesday. Not really sure. I'll have to call the florist on Monday or see if they're open. But anyway, the number to call, 614-459-9769. That's 614-459-9769. So go ahead and call now.
You won't believe it though. I wanna hear your mind. And there's nothing else in the world tonight. She said people don't take the time. Hey, people don't take the time.
Hi, I'm Keith Carlos, winner of America's Next Top Model and star of Chocolate City 2. Look for my smile on the big screen this summer, courtesy of Dr. Kvitko. Stay tuned to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of The Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. Did you know that you no longer need to visit several different dental professionals to get more complete dental care? We handle everything from cleanings and orthodontics to restoration, implants, and smile makeovers, all in my office. And now we have 2 locations. Get the most advanced technology and procedures available today. It's more complete dentistry.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
Dr. Kvitko, let's go!
Hi, this is Richard Simmons. Dr. Kvitko's here, and he's going to help you with all of your problems. Are your teeth yellow? He can fix that. Are you missing a tooth? He can put a new one in. How is that?
That's very good. Thank you, Richard. Okay, we're back. I'm Dr. Kvitko. We're doing Dr. Kvitko's question of the day. We have Barbara on the line. Barbara, how are you this morning? Hello, Barbara?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you, Dr. Kvitko.
Thank you for calling. So you're not out driving around in the snow, are you?
No, I have to go out in a little while, but I think I'm going to maybe take the COTA bus.
Oh, there you go. Leave the driving to them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling in. What is the answer to Dr. Kvitko's question of the day?
It's all of the above.
That's right. NSAIDs, temporary filling material, cotton gauze, and we'll get on to more here in a minute. Barbara, what do you do for a living?
I'm a state government worker.
Oh, cool. And you have to be at work today?
Well, I have like a little side thing.
Oh, okay. That we can't talk about on air, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay on the line. We want to get you those flowers from DeSantis, okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. All right. If you're just joining us, I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is episode number 575 of The Reasons We Smile. We are talking about tooth apocalypse, taking a play on words for snow apocalypse, which we are living through as we speak. And we're helping you build your dental emergency kit. Okay. So far, we have told you that in your kit, you ought to have an ice pack, a hot pack, cotton gauze, temporary filling material, the solution called Save-A-Tooth, where you can go to saveatooth.com, by the way, to get, or NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So the next thing, let's talk about what can happen that could go wrong as far as your teeth. And one thing that could go wrong would be an orthodontic emergency. Now, I know a lot of orthodontists, and many of them became orthodontists because they said there is no such thing as an orthodontic emergency, and so they wouldn't be getting called after hours. And so they're kind of right, and yet if you have a wire poking your cheek, they're kind of wrong, you know? But here's the thing. In most instances, an orthodontic emergency can be handled by one of 2 things. Either you have a wire poking you or a bracket that's poking you, and you can carry orthodontic wax. In fact, orthodontists and myself included, because I do orthodontics, there's these little plastic boxes with 4 or 5 strips of maybe an inch long of wax, and we'll give you that, and you can hold it and keep it in your emergency kit, and then if you need to put wax on something sharp, you can, and then it stops cutting your tongue, stops cutting your cheek. And by the way, you could do that even if it wasn't an orthodontic emergency. If you had one of those sharp edges or a hole in your tooth, you could put wax in there for now till you get to your dentist. And then if you happen to have an elastic that's come loose, that's sticking out into your cheek, tweezers and cuticle snippers would be a good thing to have in your kit. All right, orthowax, tweezers, and cuticle snippers, because if you can use the tweezers to pull that elastic away far enough that you can get in with the cuticle scissors and cut it, well, now it's not poking you anymore. Okay? So that was an orthodontic emergency. Here's one. What about your denture is broken or a tooth has broken off of your denture? All right? Now, I want to tell you that when it comes to dentures, if you want us to be able to fix them, you really need to try to avoid fixing them yourself. Because as long as you bring it into me with clean edges that haven't been ground on or no one's tried to put glue there, I'm going to be able to fix them for you. If you've tried yourself by using the denture repair acrylic that you can also buy in the dental aisle, and by the way, I'm going to say put that in your emergency kit. Just don't use it if you don't have to. Okay? Don't use it instead of going to a dentist. Don't use it because you're too lazy or you don't want to miss work. Don't use it at all if you think you can get to the dentist before you have to get that. I mean, that would be like if you're stuck in the ditch, right? Because you slid off the snowy road and you don't want to have to, not have your teeth in when the emergency crew comes. Well, then you could maybe use it. But for the most part, try to avoid it if you want us to be able to fix it without a big ordeal and not a big expense. The other one that people typically use for this, and again, I'm going to caution you not to only use in instances where it's required, would be super glue. Now, sometimes your denture doesn't just break, but maybe a tooth breaks off. Well, that would be a case for super glue. If you can get the two edges dry, and of course you have gauze in your kit now, we talked about that. If you can get the two edges dry, if you know for a fact it goes back exactly where it came, two pieces of puzzle that fit perfectly back together, put a little bit of super glue on there, just enough to get it to stick, and then let it dry. Don't glue your finger to it. Be careful. And that's one where, I'm going to have to take the remaining part of that tooth out anyway and buy a whole new tooth and either fix it in my office or send it to the lab. So you're not really doing any harm by using super glue if it's just two halves of a tooth on a denture. Okay? So we've added denture repair acrylic and super glue to the list. Another thing that can happen is your removable partial denture can become bent or a clasp can break. Now, if a clasp breaks, oftentimes it's kind of sharp to your tongue or cheek. For that, you might want to have in your kit a nail file or an emery board or both. Keep in mind it's metal, so you want to have something that is somewhat substantial to be able to smooth off a piece of metal. And so if there's something like if they have different types of nail files, ones that are maybe smooth or medium or coarse, well, you want to get the coarse one for this, and you might want to get a medium or smooth for if it's the edge of a tooth. All right? And again, you can also, if it's bent, you're not going to be able to unbend it. I can promise you that. You could try having a little pair of pliers in there, but be very careful because you could make it so that I can't even repair it for you. So that's not exactly one that I said put in your kit. I'm thinking only in a dire emergency should you try to unbend it or bend it back or whatever you might call that. Okay. What about if a cap comes off, a crown? We call them crowns. People tend to call them caps. I don't really care what people refer to them as long as we know what we're talking about, right? And so if a crown comes off, you have to dry it off very thoroughly. That means you could blow on it. Just blow air on it until it's dry. Your tooth needs to be dry, though, in order for you to put it back on. And, we have gauze in our kit, right? So you're going to use the gauze to get that tooth perfectly dry. And leave the gauze in your mouth while you're mixing up the cement. And remember that I said in your kit you're already going to have what's called DentaTemp, which can be used as a temporary cement as well as a temporary filling. So you already have that in your kit, in your Tooth Apocalypse kit. It looks like, and we have several more we're going to talk about when we come back. We're going to talk about trismus. We're going to talk about swelling. We're going to talk about a laceration in your lip or cheek when we come back. But it looks like to me like it's time to go to a break. So you're listening to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, episode number 575, and we'll be right back.
You can't take me as I am, not just a little bit. I don't know who to be. I'm a paper cup, baby, of the sea. I know you see it too, 'cause you're too much for me.
This is Clark Kellogg. Stay tuned for more of Dr. Kvitko.
Estás escuchando con Dr. Kvitko aquí en su estación favorita.
Hi, I'm Dominique Reichert. Like what you hear? Why not use the show to promote your product or service by becoming a sponsor? Call 614-262-9588 to learn how. That's 614-262-9588. Call now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of the Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. I've been honored to help several famous people get a perfect smile, like Keith Carlos and Dominique Reigard from America's Next Top Model, and Ted the Golden Voice Williams from right here in Columbus. Isn't it time you had a celebrity smile? It costs less than you might think, and most of the time, it can be done in one visit. A new smile can make a world of difference.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
I'm Grandpa, and I go to Dr. Kvitko, and I still have all my teeth. Real ones. Where's my glasses?
All right, I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is The Reasons We Smile. It's episode number 575. We are under a level 2 snow emergency here in Franklin County, Ohio. I saw on television that it is going to expire at 10 a.m. On my way in, you could barely see the roads. They're snow-covered, very icy. People were going very slow as they should. And luckily I have my wife's car with me today, which is front-wheel drive with a nice heavy engine on those tires. So I felt pretty safe, but I didn't drive my car. I didn't drive my other car because I'm pretty sure those rear-wheel drive cars aren't going to be able to do so well. So hopefully you're sitting at home all safe and comfy, and you're going to just kind of, I don't know, get a book and put a little blanket over yourself and enjoy the day, right? It's a snow day for everybody but me. Now, most of the shows you guys hear happen to be pre-recorded. They did their show like last Tuesday or Thursday, but I am actually here for real in the snow. Anyway, okay, so we are helping you build your tooth emergency kit, calling it Tooth Apocalypse, and we have mentioned so far, let me just give you a recap. So far, what I've told you your emergency kit should have in it is an ice pack, a hot pack, cotton gauze, tweezers, cuticle scissors or scissors, orthodontic wax, denture repair acrylic, super glue, nail file, temporary filling material, solution called Save-A-Tooth, and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications. Okay, so another one that we want to be concerned about is swelling. All right, if you see a gum boil, which is kind of a pimple in your mouth, oftentimes those drain on their own. But if you're getting all swollen, it's not draining. So and again, I'm not suggesting this isn't do-it-yourself dentistry, folks. This is when you absolutely, like, you're stuck in the ditch in the snow. Okay, you're the one that ran off the road and you're waiting for the tow truck. So, if it's really hurting, one way to relieve the pain or decrease the pain besides your NSAID is to release the pressure. So how do you release the pressure? Well, you could take a straight pin or a safety pin, clean it as best you can, either with heat, if you had a cigarette lighter, the flame, or you have isopropyl alcohol, a container of that in your emergency kit. That's what I would recommend. So you're going to take some of the gauze from your kit, you're going to take the alcohol and get it wet, and then you're going to wipe this needle very, very clean, the safety pin or straight pin, and then you just gently poke the area, and it's almost like popping a pimple. It will not hurt you almost at all, not very much at all, really, because that area is already kind of, it's stretched out. It's like that's the least of your worries at that moment. Okay, now remember, I'm mentioning that you want to call your dentist or get to your dentist right away. Call me. But also, if your dentist would cooperate, you might ask your dentist if they would consider prescribing you a small number of antibiotics to help you in instances like this. Okay? Now, antibiotics won't solve the issue, but it will certainly begin to help, especially if you have popped the pimple, so to speak, and the pus is now draining, and you can get on some antibiotics between the time you call me, for example, and you come to me. Okay, so I would probably be okay with prescribing somebody half a dozen antibiotic capsules if they promise to only use them in this instance and that they got to the office right away. So you could say that should be in your kit if your dentist is willing. Okay? So we just added rubbing alcohol, a straight pin or safety pin, and some antibiotics to your kit. Another one, this one may seem odd, but it does happen. Trismus. Trismus is when it's hard to open your mouth. You have something going on, either your joints are really tired because you've been clenching or grinding, you've been chewing a lot of gum and you don't normally chew gum. I'm like that. The only time I chew gum is when I'm on a plane. And so it can make my jaw sore, and if it gets sore enough, it's like it hurts to open, and you can't open very wide. Yawning would be painful, for example. So this would be a good instance to use the hot compresses that we mentioned earlier, and also to take a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Okay? Okay, two more that things could happen. Your jaw could get stuck in the open position, believe it or not. This one's kind of tricky. If you're doing this yourself, because you're the one stuck in the ditch in snow apocalypse, you need to try to relax as much as possible. If you have someone that's with you, that's even better, because when you relax, if you can just try to relax, don't get all worked up because you can't close your mouth. If the person can grab your jaw, face you, and somehow put their fingers on like the side of both of your teeth on the lower jaw, push it down and back with a quick jerky motion, it'll get your condyles reseated into the their fossa, and it'll be better. You'll be able to close finally. Now, if you don't have someone with you, you're going to have to figure out how to do this on your own, which would, remember, you've got to like grab onto both sides of your chin, push down and back. It's really tricky. This might be one where you really honestly have to get to me as quickly as possible. Last one we're going to cover is a laceration. So let's say you've lacerated your lip accidentally. Okay, you were trying to start the snowblower, and your hand came back and cut your lip, or the handle of the pull string cut your lip, right? Okay, so it might be a good idea to have some suture material in your kit. Now, if you're going to have the suture material, you're going to need the needle holders, and you're going to need suture scissors. Again, you can buy those. You can have those. They're available to anybody these days who wants to buy them. And I know it sounds gross to try to stitch yourself up, but I mean, if you're out on a hike and you're hours away from anything, you could either try to stitch yourself up, which means you're going to need a mirror, or your cell phone, turned around backwards so that you can look at yourself like you're doing a selfie. Or you can take the gauze, and you can, on either side of your of the laceration, you can just hold it together so that it looks like it never happened, and wait for 5 or 6 minutes. The blood will clot a little bit. It'll start to essentially re-glue itself together. And if you're careful not to do anything to pop it back open, like don't stretch your mouth, then you're going to be fine. And then you get to a dentist as soon as possible. Okay. Hey, I'm getting the sign that is all the time we have. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Be careful out there. It is a level 2 snow emergency. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. It's at Dr. Kvitko. Visit my office Facebook page and like us. It's Dr. Kvitko and Associates. Remember that all past episodes, complete with video, are available at thereasonswesmile.com. Be sure to tune in next week and every week right here on your favorite station. Goodbye.
This is Carly Red from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the hit show on VH1, urging you to tune in next week with my dentist, Dr. Kvitko.
If you're interested in learning more about this and other dental health topics, go to thereasonswesmile.com to access full episodes of Dr. Kvitko's show.
If you'd like Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist, to speak at your next event, please call 614-262-9588. That's 614-262-9588.